and the Asian market closed mixed. Treasury yields rose in the bond market. The Dow was down 279 points to close at 44,371. The Nasdaq lost 45 to 20,585. The S&P 500 dropped 20 to 6259. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
There's your weekend forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 75. Tomorrow we're hot and muggy. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 94. It feels like temperature around 103. For Sunday, some isolated afternoon thunderstorms. A typical summer day around these parts. The high is in the mid-90s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And away we go on a Friday evening here on Sports Talk Media Network on a terrific Friday afternoon all across the state of South Carolina. We are, believe it or not, folks, about 3 weeks away from the start of preseason camps, both at the high school level and at the college level. So the season is almost here. We've made it through probably the roughest week left to go in terms of lack of information, lack of fun stuff to chat about. We'll make it through tonight, and then we look forward to SEC Media Days next week. Chris Bergen here in the PD. Josh Cohen trying to hold things down in our Columbia studios, hoping that the power stays with us for the remainder of the night. And then as well, we've got Matt Smith over in Georgetown with us this evening. So, guys, how was your Friday? Smitty, have a good day so far?
Absolutely. Very warm down here on the coast. But and we're all full here, I'm afraid, at least for July. Try again in August.
I don't doubt that in the least. That's why Jimmy Smith is so important. And that's why I tell people before the season gets to this point, you need to get in touch with Jimmy Smith long prior to this, back in February, so you're not worried about whether or not I can stay on the beach. But yes, the beach gets rather full here over the next couple of weeks. It was funny. I was talking with somebody in our business at a different radio station, not a sports station, and trying to get a couple of things set up. And he was mentioning that the voiceover guy that they use for a lot of their imaging and also his engineer are on vacation this week. And I said, brother, I totally get it. This is vacation week, and it got me to thinking that we ought to go back old school. Now, Josh is not old enough to remember textile mills here in our state and in North Carolina. Smitty, you are.
Yep.
And you know what they always did around July 4th, the week of the July 4th and Independence holiday? They would take the week off. I think that's what we need to do. We need to take from July 4th to the weekend before SEC Media Days as a national holiday, an entire week of vacation for everybody. And then we come back and it's football season. Tell me why that's not a good idea.
Well, because you would have missed the lively debate on baseball replay in the All-Star game last night.
Well, this is true.
So there are some things that do happen this time of year. And, of course, we've got some recruiting commitments and would-be commitments that are rolling in. One we can tell you about is, and we're trying to track it as we speak, but Jabian Shabazz has been a Gamecocks target, and he is trying to commit or announce his commitment this afternoon, and we will give you that information as we get it. He's out of Kernersville, North Carolina, down to South Carolina, Tennessee, and Ohio State, but he is favored to go to Tennessee. And as you know, Chris, South Carolina has missed out on a lot of the ones, the 50-50 ones recently, and it just has not gone their way. But we'll see if that changes tonight, because there are a pair of potential commitments, the first of which Jabian Shabazz. We'll tell you what happens with Jabian Shabazz. And later on tonight, around 7:30, Samari Matthews out of Cornelius, North Carolina, is also set to commit. But a lot of the recruiting analysts are pointing to Texas as the favorites to land Samari Matthews later on tonight. So it really hasn't gone South Carolina's way in terms of landing some of the high-profile recruits. We'll see if that changes. And, of course, we've got plenty more information on the recruiting report later on in the show, and also some potential commitments coming in over the weekend. So that's what we would give up, Chris, and we just can't have it.
Well, I get that. And the Rashul Faison situation continues to simmer, and he's got no resolution to that. He actually tweeted out today, I felt bad for him. He had his car stolen at some point in time, according to him today. So it has not been a good day all the way around over at USC. Josh tells us, though, if we want to go and check this out, why not? Let's listen in live. Jabian Shabazz about ready to make his verbal commitment somewhere. Let's see where he goes. Josh, you're going to have to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so he just finished up a quick statement. I think he's about to say
it. The school I'll be in for the next 3 to 4 years is
picking up a Carolina hat.
Hold on now. What y'all think?
Picking up a Tennessee hat now. He tried to put it on, and he took it off.
Hold on. I'm playing with y'all. Hold on. Nah, I'm playing.
Tennessee. He picked Tennessee. He has a Tennessee hat on.
That was sort of, Smitty, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, that's where everything sort of was developing for him. I'll give him a little credit, because I thought we had gotten past the point of the put the one hat on, take it off, throw it away, and then pull the real school hat on. So still that's evidently out there and still a thing in recruiting.
Yeah, it is. And, these kids, they want to have their moment. It's not often that the cameras are on them without their helmets on. So they take advantage of the moment, and that's for the family. And there have been a lot of cutesy things done over the years. And as Josh just mentioned, he reached for the Carolina hat, put it back down, then picked up the Tennessee cap, put it on to applause, took it back off, played the shell game, and then and then finally put the Tennessee cap back on. So it is for another commitment for Rocky Top, and that's the second big one they've beaten the Gamecocks out on this week. And so Jabian Shabazz has committed to Tennessee, and of course, you'll find we'll give you more details about Shabazz on the recruiting report. But South Carolina misses out on another highly touted prospect.
And a good job, Josh, to get that up and running. Let Josh do a little play-by-play. You handled that well.
Thank you.
You're going to probably have to do it again at 7:30 tonight.
I forgot to mention, he picked up an Ohio State shirt as well in between. After the first time he picked up the Tennessee hat, and the second time he picked up an Ohio State hat for just a second. But yeah.
This is, by the way, what's interesting about this is you could hear Chris, he's a little bit over it, but Chris did the same thing. When we were courting Chris to come work at Sports Talk, he had 4 radio station koozies in front of him.
This is true. This is very
true. And then he picked up the Sports Talk one, then threw it back over his shoulder, and he picked up one that was from a station down in Charleston, and then one that was up in Rock Hill, and then finally came back and picked the Sports Talk koozie up again, and me and Corm were the only ones there in an empty restaurant. It wasn't as cute as Chris thought it was.
That was a Hooters, right?
Yeah, that was a Hooters. We were at a Hooters that has since shut down. They were putting the chairs up, and that's how Chris decided to join Sports Talk.
Well, and the bigger problem was the koozie was made out of eggshells, so when I threw it over, it broke, of course. So I had to go pick it back up and figure out what was going on and piecemeal it back together, excuse me, to announce for Sports Talk, and I'm glad I have here.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
It's worked out, and you haven't hit the transfer portal.
888-898-2525 if you'd like to join us here on this fabulous Friday as we inch ever closer to the start of the football season. Speaking of which, coming up at 6:30 tonight, Lou Bezek, the prep sports coordinator of the state newspaper, is going to swing by and visit with us. There is a huge AAU basketball tournament classic going on in Rock Hill this weekend. A lot of really high-level, top-notch type players and high-level, top-notch coaches are in attendance this weekend up in Rock Hill. So we get Lou's take on that. And also the Prep Zone South Carolina hosted a media day over at Westwood High School today. I think, Smitty, if I'm not mistaken, about 30 of our high school teams were there. And as I mentioned, we're about 3 weeks away, as you well know, as the voice of the Socastee Braves. I think, if I'm not mistaken, preseason camp opens up July 31st, August 1st, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that's 3 weeks out. So perfect time to start getting into a little high school football with Lou when he joins us here in about 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, and there's nothing like it, of course, in South Carolina. I do get so excited about high school football, and I really appreciate Lou Bezek at the state, obviously, and what David Shelton does at Post and Courier, and everybody. And Prep Red Zone has been a godsend for coverage because obviously the local papers, they've struggled over the last decade plus, and you just couldn't dedicate the coverage that these young athletes deserved, and so we had to fill that void. And there's a few vehicles that have done that, but Prep Red Zone's one of them, and I'm glad they've graduated to the point in the last few years where they're also doing a media day so they get to know the coaches, get to know the key players, and then they can bring us those stories as time goes, as the season starts to come about. And that's really cool. And I'm excited, Chris, as you said, fall camp and then the jamborees, and then we kick it off in earnest and then region play. And before you know it, it's the weather starts to turn and we're talking about the playoffs.
No, without a doubt. And I can only remember Media Day for a high school event. Marlboro County used to host the Dennis Miller Jamboree of Champions. I think it has gone away, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I am mistaken, and I hope they're still doing it, but I'm not sure I've seen anything about it the last couple of years. But when Dean Boyd was the head coach of Marlboro County, they did a terrific job of inviting a lot of top-notch teams from not just the PD region. Marlboro County sits there on the border belt, as they call it, over in this part of the state. So they'd get teams from North Carolina that would come down and some teams from the Midlands that would come up to participate. And they would host about this time, right before the start of preseason practice, they would host a media day for that jamboree alone and talk about every coach come up and chat about his team and how excited, of course, they are about participating in the jamboree. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was a well-run event. It was a terrific jamboree and brought in some outstanding teams. And that's one nice thing. The college coaches have talked for years. Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer have beaten this drum to death about getting an opportunity to scrimmage against someone other than themselves because they're the only level of football that does not have that opportunity. But the jamborees, to me, in high school are so much fun. You get a pretty good glimpse as to what your team can do in about a half, and then they're off the field and somebody else comes out there. I mean, it's a great way to see a lot of high school football, relatively inexpensive, and then you go out there and enjoy and get an idea as to what the Atlanta Vikings are going to look like for Phil Kornblutz when the season rolls around. I love the jamboree time of season. Now, I love the high school season as a whole, but I do love the jamborees because I think it is a perfect way to sort of preview what's going on and what you should expect out of your team.
Oh, you mentioned it. You can't – the amount of football that you get to see and the amount of different players you get to see for less than $10 in a night, I agree with you. I love the jamborees. I will get to as many as I possibly can this year. I've always loved the jamborees. And they went out of vogue for a while, and I certainly wouldn't blame anybody. These things come and go. We've talked about that with American Legion Baseball. Now it's renaissance. And this happened in high school football, and really what got into vogue for a while, obviously the passing camps blew up, and then going out of state yourself, playing out of state competition really really picked up. But I actually prefer it when you get to see teams that might be, they kind of share an area code or 2 zip codes over, 3 counties over, and they get to play for a half, and there's a genuine dislike between the fan bases, but those 2 teams are not going to see each other in the regular season because of the way or maybe the classifications don't fit. But, like you put, say, Union County up against Gaffney. Union County doesn't care that Gaffney's bigger than they do. They stick their hands in the ground, and they're coming at you, and you get those fan bases in the same stadium, and I love the intensity and I love the rivalries. Even the ones that have kind of faded away, the Jamborees are a great time to see those reborn. So I'm with you. Everything about high school football season I really, really like. I wouldn't change anything, except for I wish it were 10 degrees cooler at the first 2 weeks of the season.
I would totally agree, especially considering that we don't have Josh coming over and setting up equipment for us. We have to do it on our own at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And 9 times out of 10, the press box, wherever you are, the home press box sits facing the sun. So that's a little high school 101 that, October is a lot better than late August and September for sure. All right, 888-898-2525. So Scoop's set to join us here after the bottom of the hour break. We will also make an adjustment to our schedule tonight so we can get the Samari Matthews commitment on the air as well. So George Bryan, Birdies, Bogies, and Biceps, presented by Tsunami Bar Sports. That is actually going to come your way at 7 o'clock. We'll talk some golf tonight with him. So looking forward to doing that. Your phone calls, text messages, and, of course, recruiting all on the way as we get moving on this busy Friday edition of Sports Talk, the Sports Talk Media Network.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogies, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
Should be wrapping up a national holiday week. I'm going to push for this, and I think I may have found the right guy to do this, Smitty. There's a story out today. MSN.com actually talked to Charles Barkley, and Barkley is trying to push Bruce Pearl out the door in Auburn to run for Senate, and perhaps the United States Senate, and perhaps replace Tommy Tuberville, who's the former head football coach at Auburn, in the political realm, and be a U.S. senator. Because Barkley believes he could do a pretty good job. And if you've watched anything, especially with what is going on in the Middle East right now, Bruce Pearl has been a major advocate for the state of Israel. And I think he may have some political aspirations. So I may try and slip this underneath his door when he gets to Washington, if he does indeed make it there, and say, look, let's make this a national holiday week across the country. You know, the 4th of July to the start of SEC Media Days.
Wait. Bruce Pearl?
Mm-hmm.
For senator? For
yes,
Senate?
replacing Tommy Tuberville.
All right, see, Bruce has done it backwards. You're supposed to run for office, then become mired in scandals.
Well, this is true with him.
He's made a mistake. You see, he's gotten in the scandals first.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's trying to run for office.
Well, see, maybe he's figured I've gotten all my scandals and all the skeletons that were in my closet. They've been outed now, so I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, that's old news. Old news.
I lied to the FBI. I know how to do all this stuff. 65 years old. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that Bruce Pearl was quite that old. But
He's got a lot of energy.
A run for the Alabama Senate seat. I said U.S. Senate. I beg your pardon. It's the Alabama Senate seat that Tuberville currently holds. And Bruce Pearl may be considering that, which would mean that would open up a real primo job, not just in the SEC, but in the country because of the job that he has done. I mean, Auburn basketball, even when Barkley played, it was not anywhere close to what it is now.
No, not even close. No, Auburn was absolutely an afterthought in basketball for a long time, and certainly a football school in most respects. But yeah, that's changed over the years. That has, and of course, the adage, "A rising tide lifts all boats." A lot of programs, I think, have benefited from the influx of revenue from all of the television contracts regarding football and the relationships that has created with ESPN. And I think SEC basketball is one of the entities that has really benefited, along with a lot of baseball programs, I think, in the Big Ten have benefited, particularly from the exposure with football and then basketball and all that money rolling in. And certain programs have gotten to feed off of that, be a part of the trough there. And you're right, SEC basketball, I think, in many respects is much deeper than it used to be, because it used to be Kentucky and then Arkansas would pop up or Alabama would pop up, and now it's much more parity across SEC hoops.
Yeah, it's not Kentucky and the 15 dwarfs, as I think it once was referred to many, many years ago, because the whole league, and that you have to give the leadership of the Southeastern Conference a lot of credit, because they basically sat down and said, look, basketball should be a lot better in our league than it is. It's an embarrassment right now. It is holding our league back. We've got to figure out a way to improve it. And what they've done, and if you want to, from comparison's sake, look at the head coaches in the SEC now versus the head coaches in the Atlantic Coast Conference. The coaching that the SEC teams get is considerably better than the coaching that the ACC teams get, because of the just really, really tremendous coaches that are in the SEC now that would not have sniffed a job, would not have taken a job in the Southeastern Conference probably 15 or 20 years ago.
Oh, and again, that's the revenue. That's the revenue that has poured into the SEC, and you're right about that. Texas has put a lot of money behind their basketball program, as an example. LSU has spent money on basketball, and Kentucky always spends money on basketball in those canvas bags. It always has. Oh, come on!
They don't even have to hide them there. Now they don't even have to hide them, though. They just hand the money to the kids. Speaking of basketball in the state of Alabama, finally, the situation with Jamia Harris, who was shot and killed in Tuscaloosa 2 years ago, is finally going to have a trial date set. Former Alabama basketball player Darius Miles scheduled to stand trial for capital murder beginning December 1st in Alabama Circuit Court, more than 2 years after he was arrested in connection with the fatal shooting of Jamia Harris in Tuscaloosa. He was accused of aiding and abetting co-defendant Michael Davis, who was found guilty of capital murder. Davis was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole and is in the process of appealing that verdict. Goes on to say, ESPN story, that Davis was found guilty of firing into Harris's Jeep during a shootout with Harris's boyfriend, Cedric Johnson. A bullet struck and killed Harris while she sat in the front passenger seat. In Alabama, shooting and killing someone while they are in a vehicle leads to a capital murder charge. Prosecutors say that Miles provided Davis, who was his childhood friend, with the gun. In Davis's trial, defense attorneys argued that Davis was protecting himself from Johnson when he fired the gun. The state previously had taken the death penalty off the table for Miles. He has been held without bond in Tuscaloosa County Jail since his arrest on January 15th of 2023, the day he was removed from the Alabama basketball team. They didn't remove him beforehand, but once he got arrested, they pulled him off the team. And to keep in mind, Brandon Miller was involved in this as well, and nothing ever happened to him. who he is currently playing now for the Charlotte Hornets.
All right, Chris, you're bringing us down on a Friday.
This is what typically happens. You get the news dump on a Friday, and I'm just surprised. I realize our court systems are backed up considerably, and it's a shame. And this is a tragic story at best. And, it gets, as you read through it, it gets just worse and worse and heart-wrenching all the way around. But it's just sad that the family of Jamea Harris has had to wait 2 years at least to get all of this justice through. They've at least already seen the trial earlier of the initial shooter. But, in terms of what's going to happen here with Darius Miles, who knows? And because co-defendant Michael Davis has already been found guilty. So they've at least gotten a little bit of closure. I don't know that you ever totally get closure on a situation like this. It's such a horrible story. And whether it involved a basketball player or not doesn't really matter. But, yeah, just a horrible story all the way around. But at least maybe some resolution coming for that family as we move into December. All right, we will slide out for a timeout. We'll get the rising tides to lift the spirits here on Sports Talk as we will welcome in a good friend of the program, Lou Bezjak from the State Newspaper. He's going to join us right around the corner. We will talk some high school basketball with him, talk some high school football with him as well, and we'll get the big recruiting report before the announcement a little bit later on. The second opportunity for the Gamecocks, Samari Matthews, set to announce somewhere after 7:30.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
There's your weekend forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 75. Tomorrow we're hot and muggy. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 94. The feels-like temperature around 103. For Sunday, some isolated afternoon thunderstorms. A typical summer day around these parts. The high is in the mid-90s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A divided federal appeals court has thrown out an agreement that would have allowed accused September 11th mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to plead guilty in a deal sparing him the risk of execution for al-Qaeda's 2001 attacks. Mohammed's accused of developing the plot to crash hijacked airliners into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. One hijacked plane crashed in Pennsylvania. That plot killed thousands. The State Department is firing over 1,300 employees in line with a dramatic reorganization plan initiated by the Trump administration earlier this year. A senior State Department official said Friday the department is sending layoff notices to 1,107 civil servants. More details at srnnews.com.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
Step on the comfort and style with Floor Boys. Imagine plush carpets underfoot, sleek hardwood reflecting sunlight, or luxurious vinyl plank elevating your kitchen. Each step in our showroom unlocks new possibilities, blending your vision with our expertise. Our experienced team guides you from inspiration to flawless installation, making the process easy and enjoyable. Visit us on North Lake Drive or book a complimentary in-home estimate. Explore endless flooring options and fall in love with your space only at floorboys.com.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah.
Paying tribute to the NIL era of college athletics. I got money on my mind, and all I do is win. That's what Smitty does. It's all Smitty does is win. He's racking up the W's all around the country. 888, if you'd like to be on the program with us here tonight, 888-898-2525. Chris, Smitty, and Josh with you on this Friday night, heading into the weekend. We will talk some golf just after 7 o'clock, adjusting some things to get ready for the Samari Matthews announcement later on tonight at 7:30. It looks like he's going to select Texas. Gamecocks right in the mix, but we'll see if that is actually the case just after 7:30. So George Bryan will swing on by a bit early. We'll put him in the early tee times and get him on the first tee at 7 o'clock tonight to talk some golf. But in the meantime, we're going to talk some high school athletics, basketball and football front and center right now because there's a really, really big AAU tournament going on up in Rock Hill this weekend. And also the Prep Zone South Carolina had a big media day over at Westwood High School today. So we've got the guy who can fill us in on all the details, the Prep Sports Coordinator of the state newspaper, Lou Bajak, joins us here tonight on the phone lines. Scoop, how you doing on this Friday?
Pretty good, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Appreciate the time tonight. So let's start with basketball, and then we'll get over into the football for a couple of moments. Tell us what is going on up in Rock Hill and why it's such an event that it draws the interest of Brad Brownell and also Lamont Paris.
Yeah, it's huge. It's one of the season-ending tournaments for the Adidas circuit. The AAU basketball circuit is divided in the different shoe circuit, Adidas, Nike, Puma, Under Armour. They're all holding their big end of the year, end of the summer tournaments, which the college coaches can visit and watch through Sunday, and then there's another live period that ends next weekend. You got the Adidas tournament going on right now in Rock Hill that started on Wednesday, and that will go through Sunday, and then there's one more Adidas period in California, I think, next weekend. But this is a big kind of the end of the year, kind of like the championship on that circuit, and same as well with the Nike Peach Jam going on in North Augusta, which started yesterday, and now will run through next Sunday.
Lou, I noticed that you did not make mention of the Pawleys Island Georgetown rivalry. It's a Rockport Skechers tournament. the silver sneakers.
Skechers
not
British Knights, and they didn't make the cut.
But all right, we just so everyone knows, we know they exist, but Lou can't get everywhere.
Yeah.
So, Lou, who are, in terms of the players, who would Brad Brownell and Lamont Paris, who are some of the guys that they are watching up in Rock Hill this weekend?
They watched, I know Lamont and Brad, they're interested in the Upward Stars teams, which is based out of South Carolina, and they have most of their members, or all their players, are either South Carolina or North Carolina kids. Both are interested in Josh Leonard, who's a top 10 prospect in the country for the class of 2027. He plays at Wilson High School, and they were both they're actually sitting next to each other during his game last night, while watching him, and also a couple other Upward Star players, Corey Corbett, who was at Ridgeview until last week. He announced that he's going no-kill, and then Will Stevens, who's playing this week. He was on the Nike circuit now. He's playing for Upward Stars these last couple weeks. He's I know someone Clemson and South Carolina interested. Big kid, 7-footer. He's really good touch. He could shoot the three. He's a really good skill set. He plays at Davidson Day up in Charlotte. And I know Lamont was also interested he was watching last night. Marte, Rocket Sanders' brother, Marte, he played, and he's a 5-star prospect in the class of 2027, Marte Barnes. And he looked really good last night, playing for a team out of Florida, Austin Rivers Elite, and he's pretty smooth, and Gamecocks have been on him for a while, finally offered him, and have been in last month and been in constant communication. Obviously, the ties with his brother, having a successful stint as running back, and he's pretty good on the basketball court. So, there's some of the guys, and I know Lamont, they'll be around also at Nike and the Under Armour events, their staff, looking at players. As high school recruiting is still important despite the transfer portal. You still want to get lock in on some of those top-notch high school basketball players, especially these young guys coming up. You got the rising seniors, and then you also got the 27 and 28 guys.
This event taking place at the Rock Hill Sports and Event Center. They've done a terrific job up there of turning that into a world-class type facility, and so much so in terms of national interest. I saw where Mark Pope, the head coach of Kentucky, is there this weekend as well. Scoop, he's looking at Billy White III and also Deron Rippey Jr. I don't know much about those two kids, but I'm guessing
really
they
good.
are national. Yeah, I would think so if Kentucky's looking at them.
Yeah, he was there yesterday. Calipari and Izzo were both there yesterday, looking at a ton of players. And you're right, Rock Hill's really that convention center that was packed yesterday. They got been to Peach Jam a bunch, and I've been to this event a few times as well. It's a little more spread out. You get to move a little bit more. They got 8 courts going on. Got the main arena where South Carolina played a basketball game a few years ago. And it's been a couple weeks ago. It hosted the NBA Top 100 camp, which for the top prospects in the country, which was a big get for Rock Hill to host that. And then next week they'll host the girls' version of the Adidas championships next weekend. So all the top. I'm sure Don Staley and the rest of the staff will be up there watching some of the top girls prospects play in the Adidas, their final event.
All right, let's turn our focus over to high school football. And Scoop, it's hard to believe. I was looking at the calendar, and I think I'm right. What, preseason camp can open July 31st for the public schools, or is that the 1st? When does preseason practice begin?
They moved it up a day this year. It's usually that Friday, but I think it was voted to move it up so teams don't have to practice on Saturday if they don't want. So I think it's moved up. I think Skeeza and public school both begin on that day after the dead period. So they got about 2 weeks. You got next week and the week after, and then it's a dead week with coincides with the coaches convention. But it's here before you know it. Teams are wrapping up their 7-on-7 and their scrimmages and that, and going to get ready for the start of the season.
Lou Bays,
Prep
Jack
Zone, South
us.
Carolina. Oh, go ahead, Smitty.
Sorry, Chris. I was just going to say Lou Bays, Jack joining us, and I'll let you step right back in. I just wanted to ask Lou. It's been a while since the football has been live out there, but there was some news in the offseason. I just was curious, what's the temperature like currently with the charter schools and the public schools and all of that and all of the acrimony of the last 2 years? Has that settled down with some of the legislation, or is that still at a fever pitch?
It's a little bit kind of settled down. I mean, Gray had their season end last year with they were denied to be in the playoffs. And I think people saw how it worked a little bit with the multiplier and teams spread out a little bit. I think they're kind of getting used to that. I think this year the big story in which I was asking most of the coaches I talked to today is the one-time transfer rule, which go into effect, and I think that's definitely a game changer. And it's been a learning curve, and you've seen a lot of movement. Kids posting their new destinations on social media, and I think that's what you got to worry about. I think a little bit more this year. You also have realignment down the road in the next few months as they begin to work on that. But I think the one-time transfer rule is the big thing, one of the big topics for the start of the football season, and it will be the same for all sports. It's big for all sports, but football will be the first.
Do you like that rule?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, if you got you can't do it your senior year. I mean, you got one time between now and from between freshman and junior year. The rising seniors, they were grandfathered in, so they were able to do it this year. But yeah, you just try to do it, give them that one time, and if you don't like where you're at, try to find a different thing. And obviously, it lends itself to maybe more recruiting. It happens, and I think that's what worry about. And just also the different districts with the rules. Some are still, even though it's in place, they're still making you move, and in some cases, some schools are full to capacity, and they're not letting transfers in. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, and to see who some of the new faces. Most of them that we know about have already made their choices and have been working out with their new teams this summer. But you never know. You got until August 1st or July 31st before that first practice, so you don't have to sit out any days to get squared away and get enrolled at your new school.
Lou Bajak with us for a few more moments from the state newspaper tonight, talking some high school sports. And Scoop, I saw where you were attending over at Westwood High School today, Prep Red Zone South Carolina's Media Day, which I think is phenomenal. And 30 teams were there. So what were some of the takeaways you had? I'm guessing you got a chance to chat with as many of those teams as you could. So what were some of the takeaways from the coaches today?
Yeah, once again, transfer rule also, just a lot of the new faces. In the Midlands alone, we got 13 new head coaches out of 30 plus, I think 36 schools. So you got almost a third, almost a half that changed coaches some way. Just dominoes fell. You got the new faces. You got some kids, they got off the boat. The Irmo kids, the eyes kind of were wow when they entered. They got some big dudes even without their pads, and their defensive line and offensive line is going to be just massive. South Point made the trip down, and you got Jazavion Currents, who's committed to South Carolina. He looked good, talked with him, and then Seth Tillman was there, who's just picked up offers from South Carolina and Clemson. I think South Point's going to be really good. Obviously, who could beat Dutch Fork? And then they're talk to their players. They're going for 4 in a row. And they want to close out strong. They've got a couple big additions they had in the off season with Jaden Worth coming from Georgia and Mike Fury's son Stone moving over from Chapin. I think he's going to be a really good receiver for them. And a new quarterback they're breaking in, Tom Knott's son. It's going to be the starting quarterback, Jackson. After Ethan Offing decided to concentrate on baseball, he's committed to Clemson. So Dutch Fork breaking in a new quarterback. But so it's a lot. With the new faces, and like I said, a lot of college talent was in there, guys that have committed already, and guys like Jordan Best from Ridgeview, who's going to announce tomorrow where he's going to go. So it was fun to catch up and kind of whet the appetite a little bit before practice starts in a couple weeks.
How good can Jackson Knotts be playing for his dad?
I talked to him, I think, at a 7-on-7. It's different. It's definitely, we know how hard he is with quarterbacks in general now. Now you're coaching your son, and you're going to have him for 2 years. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think when they get home and things are kind of like off limit. But I know he's on them at school, and he watches a lot of film with his dad. And I remember seeing him when I got here 10 years ago, being a ball boy on the sideline. Now he'll be slinging the passes on Friday nights at Fox Field.
You've been at the state now a decade? That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you used to work here and did a great job over here at the Florence Morning News. I cannot believe it's been 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be 10 years in August, yeah.
That's amazing. They get a watch. They're going to get you a cake. What's the present for you? 10 years of service at the state.
Good enough. Just keep letting me work. That's a good enough prize for sure.
Let you get out of here on this. What's the talk around the water cooler about, first off, Rashil Faison's situation at South Carolina? Does anybody at the state believe he's going to now get cleared? And also, what's the talk with regards to Samari Matthews, who will make his announcement here in about 45 minutes tonight?
Yeah, I think Faison, the longer it went out, the worse USC's chances got, but you never know. Things could change. I think they're still holding out hope. Them getting the running back from Colorado kind of helped. They got a pretty good running back room. It's just not a lot of proven talent, and Faison gave you that proven talent. I know Oscar Attaway has been there and a veteran guy, but I think Razul would make a big impact. We'll see. Maybe it comes in a week from now. If not, hopefully, if he doesn't, I think the plans are for him to just sign a free agent contract and get in NFL camp as soon as they can, because they're opening up in a week or two. So, yeah. So, and as far as Smoke Matthews, I think South Carolina's a good spot, but Texas, some people think Texas might be the team to beat, but still, we've seen it with Shane Beamer before. If they don't get him the original announcement, it's nothing until you sign in December. So I wouldn't count him out, even if he announces somewhere, if he announces Texas or Miami tonight.
Scoop, as always, we appreciate the time. Outstanding information. Enjoy your weekend and what little bit is left of the off season, and I know we'll see you around the block here in the next few weeks.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Yes, sir. That is Lou Bajek, the prep sports coordinator of the state newspaper, swinging by to delve into some high school basketball, high school football. We can talk some college football with Scoop. He is multi-dimensional. I had no idea Smitty has been over in Columbia now 10 years.
Yep. I agree. That is striking. That is really striking. Lou still feels like kind of a young guy, too. But, hey, you mentioned recruiting. We'll do Recruiting Report presented by Seawells. On the other side, this is Sports Talk.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is here, and as you get ready to go out on the water this spring and summer, make sure you have all the required safety equipment on board. Check for a sound device. A horn or whistle will suffice for most boats. Inspect all of your life jackets. Make sure they're in good condition and are the correct size for all of your passengers. If your boat is over 16 feet, you will need to make sure you have an approved throwable device on board as well. Remember, boating safety is no accident.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Now, welcome back to Sports Talk. Smitty and Chris here with you. Phil Kornblut is, just for those of you that are just craving Phil Kornblut, he will be back on Monday. And truthfully, he's here with us now.
Hardest working man on vacation on the planet.
Yes. If you missed it at the top of the show, it was more bad news for Gamecock recruiting. We went to it live. Jabian Shabazz committed to Tennessee, and that is where we begin tonight's recruiting report presented by Seawells. If you're planning that special event, whether it be a wedding reception, birthday party, corporate outing, awards, banquet, business luncheon, call the catering experts at Seawells, 803-771-7385. Josh, do you have the menu up for the rest of the week or next week?
No, I do not, Smitty. They do not put it out until Tuesday of the current week. So, it will not be out until Tuesday for the rest of next week.
All right, take two. Everybody sleep? That didn't happen. But just what you need to know is go to SeawellsCateringSC.com and you will find what you need about Seawells, including getting there in person at 1125 Rosewood Drive. So JB and Shabazz committed to Tennessee. Shabazz out of Kernersville, North Carolina, was down to South Carolina, Tennessee, and Ohio State. And the analyst had Tennessee landing Shabazz, and once again, the analyst had it right. Coming up at 7:30, Samari Matthews is due to commit. He's a cornerback out of Cornelius, North Carolina, been a longtime target of the Gamecocks, and secondary coach Torian Gray made at least 7 visits to South Carolina over the last 2 years. For most of that time, South Carolina has looked like the team to beat. But here at the finish line, predictions are pointing toward Texas. Matthews visited Texas in April. He was also back in Austin for an official visit in June. Working in favor of the Longhorns is new cornerbacks coach Mark Orphy, who had recruited Matthews while he was at Rutgers and developed a relationship with him before offering him to Texas in late February. Clinton offensive lineman Trey Aiken, 6 feet 4 inches tall, 305 pounds, is set to announce his college choice tomorrow. Aiken helped lead the Red Devils to a state championship last season. Woodward Academy Georgia safety Blake Stewart will announce his commitment on Sunday. Stewart's choice will come down to Clemson, Michigan, Vanderbilt, and Miami. And of course, you can find out all you need to know about in-state recruiting on X with the phrase ST Recruiting. Will bring up everything you need to know, or you can just go to SportsTalkSC.com, and today there is a handy list posted of the announcement dates for targets of both South Carolina and Clemson. Of course, the next two on that list, Trey Aiken out of Clinton, who's a Gamecock target, and Woodward Academy safety Blake Stewart out of Atlanta, who is a Clemson target. That is your recruiting report presented by Seawells. Visit SeawellsCateringSC.com for menu options or give them a call at 803-771-7385.
Smitty, in the recruiting report, and I didn't see it here looking on the website, did Phil happen to mention who the other schools involved with Trey Aiken are?
Who Trey Aiken, who he's down to?
Yes.
Let me see.
Yeah, I hate to put you on the spot. I was just curious if it was
I don't have it in front of me, yeah.
With his stuff. I know he's been a Gamecock target for a long time as well. He should be a Clemson target as well. I mean, he's an outstanding offensive lineman. And
I will tell you,
an offensive lineman from Clinton, he can run ball.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
he's going to be able to do that.
Here's what I will tell you. I've got some info quickly. I can tell you some analysts like him to NC State. That is Trey Aiken out of Clinton. And I know he's also been heavily recruited by Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, in addition to the Gamecocks and the NC State Wolfpack. But it is, these predictions have been going against the Gamecocks, and it looks like NC State, there are 7 experts at 24/7 Sports that are projecting Trey Aiken will choose NC State tomorrow.
They're getting a good one if that's the case. And I think I remember Phil mentioning that for whatever reason, Trey's interest or the Gamecocks' interest in him has sort of cooled over the last couple of months, and maybe that's part of the reason why.
Yeah, potentially. And as we said, some of the big-name recruits have just gone against the Gamecocks here recently. And, there's a lot of talk about NIL and Deion Sanders. I don't know if you heard those comments. He said, I can't keep up with this kind of money, but I'm not complaining. He kind of said, I'm not complaining, and then he went on to complain. But a lot of coaches are starting to talk about that, and the money that is being thrown around. But I will tell you one thing. I don't know how this is all going to play out. But, for instance, I have in front of me the 2026 team recruiting rankings. And I'll just give you some. Southern Cal, Georgia, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, Michigan, Oregon, Clemson. Okay? Well, if you go back and look at the 2015 recruiting rankings, it's Alabama, Southern Cal, Florida State, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Texas A&M. A lot of the same teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Texas Tech really taking advantage because they have a billionaire. But, Oklahoma State's had a billionaire behind them, no national championships. Oregon's had a billionaire behind them, and absolutely, they have elevated that program, made a national championship appearance. But still no championships. The Blue Bloods, Michigan won last year. Georgia the year before that. Alabama ruled this decade. I don't know. I'm still waiting to see where this big shift is among the teams that are making the college football playoff. Seems like the same players most years.
All right, Smitty, have a good weekend. You're going to be off the rest of the night. We'll be back for hour 2 after this.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump toured the devastation left by flash flooding in central Texas today. President Trump says the damage in Texas is unprecedented.
It's hard to believe the devastation. Trees that are 100 years old just ripped out of the ground. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen a lot of bad ones. I've gone to a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes. I've never seen anything like this. This is a bad one.
Trump's visit on Friday came a week after heavy rainfall caused the Guadalupe River in Kirk County to rise 26 feet in less than an hour, killing at least 121, including dozens of children at a nearby Christian summer camp. Authorities in 2 national parks are keeping watch over wildfire conditions, which led to evacuations earlier this week. Correspondent Donna Warder reports.
Black Canyon of Gunnison National Park in Colorado was closed Thursday morning after lightning sparked wildfires on both rims, burning through at least 2.5 acres. Park officials say there's no containment of the perimeter. And in Arizona, the Grand Canyon's north rim closed Thursday because of wildfire on connecting Bureau of Land Management land near Jacob Lake. Officials say that fire has burned through at least 1.5 square miles with zero containment. Officials say hot temperatures, low humidity, gusty winds, and dry vegetation have made conditions ripe for wildfire. I'm Donna Warder.
A divided federal appeals court has thrown out an agreement that would have allowed accused September 11th mastermind Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to plead guilty in a deal sparing him the risk of execution for al-Qaeda's 2001 attacks. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 279. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-919-1441. 800-919-1441. 800-919-1441.
President Trump says he will raise taxes on many imported goods from Canada to 35%. BBC correspondent Katie Silver reports on Trump's letter to Canada's Prime Minister.
He starts by talking about how there was, of course, tariffs imposed, caused in part by Canada's failure to stop fentanyl drugs pouring into the country, saying then that they were going to be putting a 35% tariff onto Canadian goods, and that if Canada retaliated, they would just match them and raise that again by 35%, basically saying there's no way out of this.
The letter to Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is an aggressive increase to the top 25% tariff rates that Trump first imposed in March after months of threats. Trump's tariffs were allegedly an effort to get Canada to crack down on fentanyl smuggling. More at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
There's your weekend forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 75. Tomorrow we're hot and muggy. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 94. The feels-like temperature around 103. For Sunday, some isolated afternoon thunderstorms. A typical summer day around these parts. The high is in the mid-90s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
And back we are, Friday night edition of Sports Talk Media Network all across the lovely state of South Carolina. You're welcome to be a part of the program. We'll have some time just after 7:30, depending on how long Samari Matthews speaks with regards to his recruitment. We're going to try and carry that live for you. His announcement just after 7:30 tonight. After he's done, we'll have some time maybe to squeeze in a few phone calls, hit a text message or two at 803-900-4847. Chris Bergen here in the PD. Josh Cohen back in our Columbia studios. And Matt Smith with us during hour number one had to depart ways with us. So Smitty is off to the weekend. So it's just the two of us, Josh and Chris, up through the remainder of the program. But because of the Samari Matthews situation tonight with his recruiting announcement, we're going to make a slight change here. And George was kind enough to accommodate us as we move Birdies, Bogies, and Biceps presented by Tsunami Bar Sports up to now. So we bring in the early tee time for George Bryant.
4. Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has never been found.
Oh, maybe my favorite theme song that we have on the program all week long. It is time for Birdies, Bogies, and Biceps with George Bryan III, who joins us on the phone lines here tonight. GB, how you doing on this Friday?
Oh, I couldn't be better, and I like teeing off early. That typically means we can play faster and play more. So, yeah, I love the earlier time slot. I think it'll be easier to get guests on earlier than later. However, I like the late one, too. Teeing off late, to me, means that's just how you do it. If you play them well, you tee off late. In fact, that last group late in the afternoon is where I like to be. So
yeah, but the weather's normally better in this tee slot. You know, when you go off by yourself as the final guy who made the cut, usually the weather's pretty good, and you don't have to worry about the throngs of people watching you either.
But golf's all-weather sport. Golf's all-weather sport. We got to play in all circumstances, and I tell you what, it's a beautiful game played all over the world. And I missed you guys last week, but it was awesome in Europe. Went to Germany and the BMW. What a fabulous golf event DP World BMW was, and I tell you, the perspective of the Europeans, I'll just say it's so much different. It was quite fresh, and it was the first DP World event that I had attended and then watched George and Wesley play. So there's a lot going on. I know we having a little trouble. We got a special guest tonight, Ron Matei. He's a veteran journalist. And, Josh, were you able to get him on? Can you get him to the tee, Josh?
George, I am trying. Our phones, we're having a lot of issues. We had a power outage earlier in the station, and we got a whole lot going on. I'm trying to get him on. We'll get him on here hopefully in just a couple minutes.
Well, hey, I tell you what, there's nothing like trying to figure it out when you're having technical challenges. I've watched Wesley play all over the world now, and the boy just hits it in some really fun places, and I know what it's like to have to scramble for par and or watch that anyway. And so, hey, it'll be fun if we can get Ron on. Hey, I noticed I was looking at both of the tour events, and hey, I'll let you lead us down. I'm sure you have some totals you're looking at too. I'll let you lead us into some reports before we dig in and get into some of the juicy results from last week and talk about what's going on this week.
Yeah, I was fascinated. I did see where you and the Brian Bros were over in Munich. I was going to get your take on that, but we'll do that in just a minute. The Genesis Scottish Open, is through round 2, and I believe this is correct. Let's see, I pronounce his name correctly. Chris Gotterup, 11 under par, leads the field by 2 shots after shooting a 61 today. Over in Scotland, my guess is the wind was down and the weather was really nice, George, for somebody to go out and shoot nearly 59.
You know, I would guess, like you, that is the case. And I was trying to look up at the golf course where they played. Was it a links or a Parkland course? And those are two distinct, different venues. And
it's the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland, if you're familiar with that facility.
I'm not, and I didn't get a chance to watch it on air, but the two styles of golf completely different. In fact, I might, somebody can Google that and fill us in a little bit, but they're as much different as night and day, and the morning rounds typically will be, well, I can't say. The weather's ever changing. You could get, and everything, if it's a link style course, too much on occasion hinges on what kind of rotation and weather you get. You could get no wind early, high wind late, and it's almost impossible to play the game in the high winds. So I don't know. Goddard's got plenty. It's time to, I think he's won once. I'm looking at his bio, and I think he was leading and should have won, but he does not have, he's got a victory. And I watched him. I was on the side of the range when he was a rookie, only played in a few events. He's incredibly strong. A lot of fun to watch. Speaking of fun, I just can't help but shifting gears and moving back, because if you look down, you got Harry Hall, Fitzpatrick there in the lead, Oberg, and then the British Open. That's the big one. That's the big one coming up next week. We gotta shift gears and get to the opposite field event, the one playing in this country. And there's some great names on the leaderboard, including Jonathan Berg, and Tommy Gainey, South Carolinians that are truly in contention.
How about
What's
that?
called a barbecue. Not sure what the name of the event is right now, but you can fill me in with that.
Well, I'll let you make the call here. We may have to pivot. Our guest is available as well if you want to get Ron up on the tee, or if you want to run through the scores. That's up to you.
No, we'll hey, let's get Ron on the tee as soon as possible. He is a lot of fun, longtime friend. I want to introduce Ron Matei. He's a journalist. Got a few miles on his tread. I've seen him various parts of the world with various instruments from, and we're going to find out right now to what extent I referenced Ron, a veteran journalist. I know he's in what I call the visual media. I'm sure he's done a little bit of everything. Let's go ahead and tee it up with Ron Matei. Ron, welcome. You're staying here in South Carolina in the Midlands. This is Birdies and Bogies. You're on with Josh and Chris and usually Phil Kornblut, South Carolina Radio Network. Ron Matei. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me on the show. I love talking golf. Yeah, I've got some miles on me. The first time I photographed a golf tournament was with the Associated Press back in 1996 at the Bay Hill Invitational. I think Goidos won it that year. And I've been shooting that event ever since. And I cover the Florida golf swing for the Gannett Corporation, doing photography there. And occasionally I'll venture out into North Carolina, shoot a tournament there. We've met a few times at the course, and it's good to be on the show with you.
Well, you're here, you're staying at the state park here. We're going to tee it up in theory tomorrow afternoon, assuming the weather allows. And Ron, have you entertained and been on any of the other frontiers of journalism?
Well, no, it's pretty much photojournalism is what I've done. I've covered Jacksonville Jaguars, NFL, shot every major sport, spent 3 years as the chief photographer for the Professional Bowlers Tour, traveling all over the United States and did a little shooting out in Germany. I see you guys were out at the BMW last week. That's wonderful. It's just fun to see that golf is turning into this worldwide sport, and it's my favorite event to shoot. Just so much opportunity to make something happen, trying to cover a course and running all over the place and hope that somebody doesn't go birdie, eagle, birdie that's half a mile away to have to get out and run to catch them finishing, which makes it just so much fun to go out there. And if you've ever been to a golf tournament, you can follow one guy, and that's good. But if you're trying to follow a leader, that changes at a moment's notice, and it just adds a second or a higher level of difficulty to what you're trying to get done.
Well, that's speaking of change. That we were as you accepted the invitation to be on the show, we had a chance to speak of all that's going on in golf. You've been around the globe, and I love just breaking it open. The DP World Tour is one of the major world tours, the PGA Tour. There's a LIV Tour now, and Ron, one of the things that I learned last week on being in Munich for the BMW is the LIV players are welcome on the DP World Tour. They're not welcome on the PGA Tour. I think that's a complete travesty.
It is, and the sad thing is, the whole thing could be solved if the commissioner would just say, all right, we're going to let the LIV golfers back. They have to qualify to get into a tournament, but they shouldn't be banned from playing on the PGA Tour. I mean, if we're going to look at the world golf rankings and you actually want to say so-and-so's number 1, 2, 3, and 4, if you don't include the LIV players just because they're not on the points or the world golf rankings list, I'm sorry, you can't say that Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson and people like that aren't ranked above some of the guys on the PGA Tour. So the world golf rankings it's almost a joke if you think about it.
Well, it's weigh in on it if you'd like. If Josh or Chris, I don't think Smitty's with us anymore. Didn't hear his voice.
He is not. He had to leave. he had to leave. I do have a question, though, about that because, excuse me, guys, I didn't anticipate you coming to me as quickly as you did. But the Live Golf Tour has actually applied again to be included in the official World Golf Rankings. And, Ron, I'm going to assume you and George both, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm going to assume that both of you believe that should happen. Now, for that to happen, do they need to extend their tournaments to 72 holes as opposed to 54?
You know, that is...
Well, there's some pretty smart...
Go ahead, Ron. Tee it up, man. Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, there's some really good marketing people behind both the PGA Tour and Live Golf. And if they can't put their heads together and find out a way to make this work, then no one can. It's not brain surgery. We're just trying to get great golfers ranked, and you can't just exclude the Cam Smiths of the world and things like that. I mean, they got to be up there in that top 20, top 30 ranking, and until you can find out a way to do this, what are we talking about? I mean, it's not truly a golf ranking, so it's all marketing, and there's some really smart people behind the television cameras and the productions and the tours, and man, let's get together and solve this thing. The world needs golf to be combined like that. I mean, Bay Hill needs Bryson DeChambeau trying to drive that, I think it was number 6 green, over that lake, and they need to see that, and we're missing so much wonderful golf, and it's just sad that they can't get it together or make it a possibility for a Live Golf player to play on a PGA Tour, get invited to an invitational. But it's just like there's so much animosity. Some people say, well, it's the players that are causing the divide, and with the amount of money that the PIF has, you can't tell me that they can't go ahead and say, okay, everyone who's got a PGA card, we're going to give you $3 million. Now, let's vote again and see what happens. I mean, they've got the money to do it. I know that some of the players saying, hey, they took the money and they left the tour and they built their own grave or dug their own grave, but did they really? I mean, it's just another tour, whether it's a sponsorship type of thing or a television type of thing. Let's solve this once and for all.
Yep, I agree. Could not agree more. And when it comes to the backing of all golf, all professional sports, it does come down to money. And I can tell you, it's not going to be announced where ownership, who's got stock in the various events around the world, including the golf event. And, you know, the Saudi money is all over. It's all over the world. And there are very few of the entities out that don't have the Saudis as investors. And that's just a fact. In fact, you know, is there anybody on the show, Ron, do you know what the term DP stands for? DP World Tour?
I used to know, but right now
no, I do not. I just always accepted it was DP World Tour.
Dubai Port. So it is. Yeah, and I just learned that, and the fact that PGA, so the DP World Tour welcomes the Live players, such as the rest of the tours around the world. Most of the other tours welcome them. The PGA Tour is the only one that has put the band out on them, and I just think I agree with Ron. We need to get together and solve this problem. And whether it's a 58, there's so many ways to look at stats. One round of golf to whatever an event, 3 rounds, 4 rounds. I don't mind saying, hey, boys on the Live, you're gonna have to put your big boy pants on and play 4 rounds to get in the world. If that's the breaking point, if that's the equalizer, then I think they ought to play 4 rounds. That's
well, and George, it seems to me. Well, and I don't disagree with that. I get why the Live Tour is probably attractive because they only play 54 holes. But if they're going to try, as Ron pointed out earlier, to get on the official World Golf Rankings, I think you almost have to have everything on an even plane, right? You may not be playing on the same golf courses, but you certainly should have to play the same amount of holes each weekend in your tournament to get qualified, right?
Can't argue that. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, and then,
but it's also a case of if a golfer wants to try to qualify a Monday qualifier to get into a PGA event, he should be allowed to try. And right now, the PGA Tour is saying absolutely not, no way. Or if John Deere decides we want to invite, whether it's Wesley Bryan or Clark or Cam Smith or Dustin Johnson to come and play in the tournament, they should be allowed to do that. And right now, that's not a possibility.
Well, I tell you what, that's hopefully things will change. I'm glad there's a vote. Did we figure out if that Renaissance, Ron, do you know the answer to the question if the Scottish Open is on a links or a Parkland course?
I don't know. I just watched the highlights where Rory went low today on the Scottish on TV as I was going through. Again, a lot of the golf that I watch is on YouTube. I mean, and not just the golf, the recaps, the things like that. I go to YouTube and I try to follow the golf as much as I can that way. It's rare that I have the time, especially on a Sunday, to sit down and watch a tournament unfold in real time. So I really use the recaps as the way, and I think a lot of people do.
Well, speaking of recaps, let's go ahead. In the event in the opposite field event at the Hurstbourne Country Club, and we're talking ISCO Championship. This is the opposite field. I think this is in Kentucky.
It is. It's in Louisville.
And we have some locals, although Zach Blair technically, I don't think he lists himself. He's one of the principal partners in Tree Farm, which is between Columbia, just outside of Aiken. He's at 5 under. We're going to get to some of the local here, Ron. I saw Tommy Gainey at 1 under. I saw Jonathan Bird hanging out somewhere good. Now, I guess they are finished. Jay Bird, Jonathan Bird grew up right not too far from where you are at Sesqui State Park. He went to Spring Valley High School. Jay Bird was in contention, so it's pretty cool to see some locals. Yeah, Jonathan Bird is at 1 under and well inside the cut line. And let me see, where is Ben Martin? I saw Ben Martin. Ben was playing. He looked like he was in good shape at one point. Oh, I'm not seeing him now where I want to. At the top, Josh Teeter, who spent time technically more at Sea Island. He's a local guy. Great guy though, Josh Teeter. And last week, European Tour player BRT, Brandon Robinson Thompson, who played at USC Aiken for Michael Carlisle. He's first year on the DP World. He got in this event, and I noticed he missed the cut. But he's a name I definitely, what a fine young fella, his rookie year in pro golf. And I'm seeing he will not play the weekend, but he's playing in the state in his first event. Chris, what is our time frame? Tsunami Bar Sports, Ron, this is sponsored by Tsunami Bar Sports, which is a company, been a supporter of birdies and bogeys now for a couple of years, and it's live weight on the cutting edge of fitness, invented for football, but in my opinion, the biggest beneficiaries are going to be golfers. Not a lot of folks know about it yet, but they're finding out as we speak. What is our time?
You got about four minutes still left to go, about 4 more minutes. And by the way, the Renaissance Club in Scotland is indeed a links course.
Oh, now we're talking. So, Ron, you're familiar with the link style. You were at a place just recently that's right near the coast, not really a links course, but the place that you visited in Savannah happens to be the site where I won my very first professional event. Tell us a little bit about where you were this past weekend.
I was down at Bacon Park, which is in the Savannah area, and I got to go play out there. Just literally called up because we're camping on a camping road trip. Got the Winnebago in tow, and we're going to travel around. A good friend of mine who is in the Golf Hall of Fame in Virginia as a greenskeeper, Pete McDonough, is setting me up for a few courses along the way. So he's called some of his greenskeeper buddies, and I'm going to get to play some really good courses along the way. And so I gave you a call because I knew I'd be in your neck of the woods. And last time we saw each other was at the Valspar in Tampa, and we hung out a bit, and that was awesome. And I'm just glad I could hook up with you, and we're going to play tomorrow and just going to see how things go here in the Carolinas.
Hey, Pete McDonough is Hall of Fame, absolutely one of the best in the business. And although I only know of him, he would be somebody that I would really like to get to know better based on what I've heard. Gem of a guy.
Well, I live down in Vero Beach, Florida, so when you come on down, we'll definitely hang out with Pete. He was Arnold Palmer's right-hand guy, handpicked. Every time Arnold pulled out a new course and joined Arnold Palmer Golf Management, Pete was the guy he would send out to teach their greenskeepers how we do it, and that way everyone was on the same plane and knew what they were doing and what their job was, and if there was an issue, Pete would troubleshoot it. And he went on for many, many years and worked for Arnold, and he's got some wonderful stories to tell.
Well, I think we're down to just a minute or so left, and what I'll do is just sum up. Ron, looking forward to appreciate you joining us. I'll probably go ahead and close it out, and appreciate you being with us. Looking forward to golf tomorrow. Ron Matei, guest on Birdies and Bogeys, visiting, and look forward to having you on again, Ron. I'm going to close it off just giving a little summary, and I'll sign off too, Chris, so you know. But one of the perspective, in my opinion, difference in Europe and this country is a matter of roots. And in Europe, for example, most of the fans that I've spoken to, many of them don't even play golf. And there's really no hope for them to ever play because of the economic conditions. But they know details about the game, details that most of the Americans here aren't really interested in. But so it's a history knowledge, a level of appreciation that's quite a bit different. Ron, that's our music. It's time for me to sign off. Thanks for being with us, Chris. Thank you. Josh, thanks. Hey, until next time, tee 'em high but shoot 'em low.
George, outstanding stuff, Ron. We appreciate it as well. Thank you, guys. All right, quick timeout. We'll come back with the Samari Matthews recruitment announcement.
Point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
There's your weekend forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with a low temperature dipping to 75. Tomorrow we're hot and muggy. Partly cloudy skies, a high of 94 to feels-like temperature around 103. For Sunday, some isolated afternoon thunderstorms. A typical summer day around these parts. The high is in the mid-90s. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing our new healthy gluten-free menu. For your choices, we offer charbroiled certified Angus ribeye steak, juicy marinated grilled chicken dinner, fresh grilled salmon, authentic Greek salad, hamburger steak with grilled onions and melted cheese, shish kebab with grilled chicken, veggie blue plate with a choice of 4 vegetable selections, spring chicken salad, and of course, our famous slow roasted pot roast. Come and enjoy a healthy gluten-free menu at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you, and God bless.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump is visiting Texas to assess catastrophic flooding that has killed at least 120 people. Despite his past calls to phase out the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Republican president has praised the federal response to the disaster. Mr. Trump is touring the affected areas by air, meeting first responders and speaking with victims' families. President Trump says the U.S. is selling weapons to its NATO allies in Europe so they can provide them to Ukraine as it struggles to fend off a recent escalation in Russia's drone and missile attacks. Trump said in an NBC interview NATO is paying for those weapons 100%. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 279 points, the Nasdaq dropped 45. More details at srnnews.com.
I don't know too many folks out there who love paying taxes, but what about getting tax credits? That's appealing, right? My buddy Ken at Broker Solar is in the tax credit business. How would you like a solar battery that helps do 2 things? First, it serves as an instant generator. the moment the power cuts out, and it doesn't even require gasoline. Secondly, it lets you take some control back from the power companies. Yeah, you can use solar power during the peak hours when your power company wants to charge you the most. Oh, and that tax credit on solar batteries, you can get a 30% tax credit right now. This is a phenomenal time to reach out to Ken. He'll come out to your home or your business. He'll give you a comprehensive free estimate, answer any questions. Solar isn't free, but you need to take advantage of those credits when they do come around. Call Ken right now. Save on a solar-powered battery. Online, find him at brokersolar.com or just call Ken, 807-7417. That's 807-7417, Broker Solar.
Ronald Reagan once said, "Man is not free until government is limited." In South Carolina, our spending is up 59% in 4 years, and we are not free. Where's the money going? Not to roads. You all know that. Not to schools. We're 42 out of 50. I'm Ron Reddy. Go to dogesc.com and join the revolution to cut spending, cut taxes, and return the money to the citizen.
Paid for by My Voice SC, 2 Office Park Court, Suite 103, Columbia, South Carolina, 29223.
Summer at Floor Boys. It's time to score with hardwoods, luxury vinyl plank, and carpeting at blowout prices. These are our best deals of the year. And listen, Floor Boys always stands by its work and by our prices. You can bring any competitor's coupons, and Floor Boys will match or beat it. They even have unbelievable interest-free financing available. So don't wait. Visit their showroom on North Lake Drive or online at floorboys.com.
How often do you speak with your insurance agent? I'm David Jolly of the Higgins & Halloran Insurance Group. I help insure your home, your vehicles, and even your business. How am I different? I have a relationship with all of my customers. I talk with them on a regular basis. If you haven't talked to your insurance agent in years, and you've allowed your policy to keep rolling over, we can do better. Give me a chance to shop around for you and get the best rates. Call me at 803-850-0054. When you think about insurance, I ask that you think of me, David Jolly.
Do you crave growth for your business? That's where The Point comes in. Fran Halloran here. Kevin Cohen and the other local hosts like me have worked to create a space where listeners transform into family. Are you a local business aiming for the stars? You need to get with Kevin and let him help create an individualized blueprint for your growth using the influential stage of The Point Radio. Reach out directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, make this year extraordinary.
Sports Talk Media Network, busy Friday night edition of the program. Chris Berg and Josh Cohen. Right now, Samari Matthews is up at the podium to announce his commitment. The Gamecocks are in the mix. The Texas Longhorns appear to be the favorite. So, Josh, let's go ahead and carry it live and see what he does here as he's about to make his announcement.
Well, he just made his announcement. Did you want to? He's going to be committing to Texas.
There we go.
Yeah, Samari Matthews commits to Texas. Did you still want to run the beginning commentary?
Yeah, let's go back and get that now that I was hoping we'd be able to catch it right at the end, but timing doesn't always work out. He's got a bucket hat on that's got the Longhorn logo on it as well. So let's go back and let you hear his entire little give and take with the 247 Sports Guides and then his ultimate announcement to Texas.
And Texas. Now it's time to head to North Carolina to talk to Samari Smoke Matthews, one of the top players in the class of 2026. Samari, it's been quite the process for you, my man. How does it feel to finally be here on Commitment Day?
It feels great. I mean, it's been a long process, and I'm finally happy I can finally decide where home is.
I know you have a packed gym there with friends and family, but who's there sitting with you at the table? Introduce everybody for us.
To my far right, I got my dad, Sean Matthews. Right beside him is my older sister, Ania Matthews. Got my older brother, Tyree. Got my mom, Anita Matthews. Got my niece, out there. And I got my sister-in-law, Gabby.
I love it, man. Let's dive into the finalists. First up, Florida State. What has the Seminoles in the mix?
They've been here since freshman year. Coach Norvell is one of the best head coaches out there right now. And with an experienced DB coach as Coach Surtain, who's been in the league and is arguably one of the best corners to do it, it's only right to respect them and put them up here.
What do you like so much about the Miami Hurricanes?
Miami, it's kind of been a weird relationship with them, but I mean, they came on late, and with Coach Crucible, what he's doing, The recruiting class he got in this year is real great. Got one of my teammates and close friends, Tyron Evans, committed there. So, I mean, it's a great things at Miami. So, I mean, you got to respect them.
There's been a lot of buzz since day one about the South Carolina Gamecocks. What appeals so much about them?
Them probably at the OG schools. They've been here for the longest with Coach Beamer, Coach White, and Coach Gray. And pretty much like my second family. I've been there so many times, and so many of my friends and relatives go there. So, I mean, it's not far from home. So, I mean, it's a good choice.
All right, last but certainly not least, the Texas Longhorns. What do you like so much about them?
They're a late school, but Coach Stark is one of the best coaches out there, I think. And Coach O, who had a great relationship when he was at Rutgers, when he finally got the job, I just had to go up there and learn her more as a human. And when I went up there for the little spring practice, I fell in love. And, yeah, they're up here now.
Well, first, I got to tell you, your family, you have been great to deal with throughout this process. I'm very excited to see what you're about to do. There are a ton of people watching at home right now and a ton of people in the gym. So, Samari, the moment is here. Time to tell everybody where you are continuing your academic and athletic career.
I appreciate you. First, I want to thank God. Without him, none of this would be possible. He kind of made everything right for me. I want to thank everybody who showed out, left side to right side. I mean, all y'all are a big part of my recruitment, a big part of my life. So I love and respect all y'all, and thank y'all for coming out. I want to thank the people up here, my family. Without them, I wouldn't even be who I am. Pops is a big part of my life. My sister's a big part of my life. Brother, mom, niece, she just got here. And my sister-in-law, they're all a big part. My best friend, Cam, I appreciate you. My brothers, my teammates right there, love y'all to death. Coaches, all the coaches who came out, my little bros, the younger kids, I appreciate all y'all. Y'all made me keep going. Don't want to fail y'all, so I'm going to make sure I keep going for y'all. All the coaches, all the staffs, all the people I met throughout this recruitment, I appreciate y'all and thank y'all for believing in me and just giving me the opportunity to play at y'all school. And with that being said, for the next 3 to 4 years, I'll be committed to the University of Texas.
All right, so that was just a couple of minutes ago. Quarterback Samari Matthews of Cornelius, North Carolina, appeared to be a Gamecock lock for the longest time. You heard him talk really, really glowingly and favorably about USC and the job that the coaching staff did recruiting him, called them like his second family. And instead, he's going to Texas. So it's been a tough day on the recruiting trail for the Gamecocks, because earlier tonight, in case you missed it, right as we were coming on the air, much the way as we were coming out of the bottom of the hour break just a moment ago, earlier today, Jabian Shabazz, the 6'7", nearly 300-pounder offensive tackle out of Kernersville, North Carolina, he selected Tennessee over the Gamecocks and Ohio State. He did the old hat trick, put one on, take it off, put another one on, take it off, throw it over his shoulder, the whole 9 yards. And Shabazz was one of the top offensive line prospects left on South Carolina's board, so missing out on him leaves a hole in a class that numbers 10 at this point with just 2 offensive linemen. They'll have another chance tomorrow. Gamecocks target Trey Aiken out of Clinton will make his announcement at some point in time tomorrow, and then still to come this weekend on Sunday, Blake Stewart, a Clemson target, a safety, will make his announcement. Then we have several scheduled for next week going back and forth. Maybe most notably, the quarterback Landon Duckworth will announce on July the 18th. So there you go. That wraps up a sort of long, extended Seawell's recruiting report here tonight. Wall-to-wall coverage of the 2 commitments going both against the Gamecocks, as the Gamecocks lose out on both Jabian Shabazz and also Samari Matthews out of the state of North Carolina, 1 to Tennessee. And Matthews headed out to the state of Texas. All right, we'll slide out for a timeout. When we come back, we'll start heading for home on this Friday. We've got some other news notes we want to get into, plus your phone calls are certainly welcome. As we close up shop here, had to adjust some things. We appreciate George Bryan doing so, and Tsunami Bar Sports for allowing us to move birdies, bogeys, and biceps from this time frame up a half an hour so we could get in Samari Matthews. Probably the way it turned out, Gamecock fans would have preferred we didn't carry it, but that's what it is in the recruiting game. So when I come back, some news notes, your phone calls, and the freshman question of the night for Josh Cohen. All to come.
Get ready for a summer of adventure with Founders Federal Credit Union. Now through July 31st, take advantage of the 6.99% APR on select purchases made with your Founders credit card. Make your plans happen without breaking your budget. Whether it's a road trip, a beach getaway, or a bucket list destination. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc for more information. Promotional rate ends February 1st, 2026. Effective APR of 13.25% to 17.90% will apply. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Turning the corner, heading for home, looking for that checkered flag here on Sports Talk Media Network. Appreciate you being with us all week long. Phil Kornblut will be back with us on Monday, however, not in studio. He will be in Atlanta all next week as we have live coverage of SEC Media Days. We'll also have ACC Media Days locked up for you the following week. In addition to that, we will have Sunbelt Conference Media Days as well in Coastal Carolina. The Sunbelt yesterday announcing the representatives there. It'll be head coach Tim Beck, obviously, along with offensive lineman Nick Del Grande and linebacker Shane Bruce. That event takes place down in New Orleans on the 22nd and 23rd. Chanticleers will be in front of the media on the 23rd in advance of their season opener against Virginia on August the 30th. All right, 888-898-2525 if you'd like to join us here in the final few moments of the show that we have still to come. We are going to though, in just a couple of moments, get into the freshman question of the night. And this will not be an easy one-off for Josh. Kind of taking it easy on. This is going to be a thinking man's question for you, Josh.
Is it something I can use AI on?
No. This will be solely on your opinion.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so this will solely be an opinion-based question for you and what you'd like to do. And it's not necessarily just because you're a freshman, but I thought since you'll start getting into sociology courses and psychology courses and that type of thing when you get over to USC, maybe this would be a fun question to ask of you.
All right, let's hear it.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that here in just a second.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to kill time while my computer reboots, and here we go. All right, some of the other news notes I wanted to get to before we do that, and we'll close things out with the freshman question of the night. This is interesting, and I thought this is a brilliant idea. We were talking last night about EA college football, the 26 game, and Josh was a little harsh on them for their rankings of the players. Delaware, University of Delaware, is offering on-field tickets and merchandise to a fan who actually wins the national title as the Blue Hens in the game. Now, partly why they want you to do this is for the first time, schools can actually earn royalties based on how much fans play them, whatever school it is, in the game. So to encourage fans, not just Delaware fans, but fans in North Carolina, fans in Georgia, fans in Ohio to play Delaware football, they're going to give you an opportunity, and all you have to do is build your Blue Hens dynasty in EA Sports College Football 26, then go on and win the college playoff national championship. You have to also then submit a video of the Blue Hens hoisting the trophy, a screenshot of your final season playoff results, and your reaction video to winning it all. Now, having done all of that, Josh, what do you think you might have earned from Delaware after you did all that?
Oh, I don't know.
Money?
I mean,
a building at the university named in your honor?
I have no clue.
Well, you're going to get a VIP game day experience at the Tub. And I'm going to assume the TUB is an acronym for. Yeah, I'm going to assume that's an acronym for their stadium.
Okay.
You get
what school is this? Because I have to look
this
this
is
up.
Delaware, the University of Delaware.
Okay. Are they a good
Blue
school?
Hens.
I mean,
they're a very good football program at the FCS level, but I don't know that I'm not real positive about the academic standards at the University of Delaware. But you'll get on the field and club access at a game of your choice and a Blue Hen coach's gear prize package. Now, it seems to me, because you're also, if you play with Delaware, as I mentioned earlier, you're giving money back to the university from EA Sports because all the schools get a little bit of a royalty fee
right,
the more fans play. And so, obviously, Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson, South Carolina, they don't need a whole lot of help. They're going to get all their fans to play as the Gamecocks and Tigers and Crimson Tide and the Buckeyes. So you don't necessarily have to worry about that. For a school Delaware's size, I think it's a really, really good idea. But the problem is you have to jump through so many hoops, and that's all you get on the field and club access at a game of your choice. I'm thinking you've got to get season tickets. You've got to throw some money at these folks. I'm not sure the average fan, even the average Delaware fan, is going to want to throw in that kind of effort and then have to video tape myself in my reaction to winning it all.
I mean, come on. You're acting
I'm supposed
like
to jump up and down.
You're acting like it's not that hard to win. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It's a lot, but I feel like, how much is on-field club access and at a game of your choice? How much is tickets at a game at this school? Who knows? But I'm just saying.
That's a great question.
It's a video game, and you're getting something out of it. So as somebody that would play this game,
fair enough.
I don't think
Fair
it's
enough.
I don't think it's that big of a thing. But I do see what you're talking about. It's called the Delaware Football Dynasty Challenge. That's wild, and I've actually never even heard about this team. They must, they look pretty cool. They actually have a pretty large stadium, almost the size of Coastal Carolina.
Okay. So if you play this year's schedule for Delaware, and you're going to have to run the table for the most part, if you play this year's schedule, and Delaware is, I believe they have moved up to FBS, so my apologies. They used to be a powerhouse at the FCS level, but now they are FBS. So they open up with Delaware State on August 28th. That should be a game both you in the video game and the team should win. Then you have to go to Colorado the next week. Then you come back home and take on UConn, and then have to travel down to Miami to face Florida International, not the Hurricanes. You get the Panthers of Florida International. Then you come back and you open up Conference USA play against Western Kentucky. Then you get Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee, Liberty, Louisiana Tech, Sam Houston, Wake Forest in your lead up to your final game of the regular season, UTEP. So considering you would really have to be able to extend not just your game play, but the ability to get some really, really good players to take a mid-major FBS program and guide it to a national championship. And that's sort of my point. If you run through all of this, the prize package, I'm not trying to knock them, but yeah, I am a little bit. Come on, Delaware, do a little bit better. I think you should put some money on the line, too. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I want to correct myself from last night, how I told you that they get every player gets $600 for being in the game. It's actually $1,500.
Ooh.
Yeah, $1,500.
Okay.
Apparently last year was $600.
Right.
I had thought it last year was $50. I'm not sure where I got the $50, but $600 last year and $1,500 this year. I say that's pretty significant. Much more than $600 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think they found out last year possibly the $600 wasn't enough of an incentive for every player to opt into the game. To me, it wouldn't have mattered. $600, $1,000, I was going to opt into the game regardless because I think it would be really cool if I were a player to be able to play as myself on the field. So the $600 was just a little bit like icing on the on top of the cake. But now $1,500, there's no doubt I'm opting in, whether or not my character on the game is actually any good or not. I'm definitely opting in there.
Within the first within the first month of its game's release, they made $500 million just in that first month it was released. Just had to throw that out there.
EA Sports did?
Yes, on that game. So
I think they can probably afford the $1,500 per player.
Sure can.
Wow, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Speaking of conference realignments, as we were trying to figure out where Delaware is now, the Sun Belt Conference and its CEOs, that's the league that both Coastal and Appalachian State and Georgia Southern are in. Looks like the Sun Belt is about ready to expand once again because Texas State is leaving and jumping over to the Pac, whatever it's going to be. So the Sun Belt plans to meet on Monday and hold a vote to invite Louisiana Tech into the league. Sources confirming that to ESPN. Tech has been the favorite to be added to the league, and there's continued momentum for the addition, according to Pete Themmel. The Daily News Record Sports first reported the meeting, and again, that's set for Monday. Folks around the conference are calling that the Louisiana bailout because it's a team that will be right beside Louisiana Monroe. Ruston and Monroe, Louisiana are fairly close, so that'll help out travel for Louisiana Monroe for sure. Next Tuesday's All-Star game in Atlanta will have, obviously, Braves flair and favorite to it, but also the All-Star game home run derby, which will take place on Monday, has got to change. Ronald Acuna is not going to participate in the home run derby. He will still start in the All-Star game, but Matt Olson of the Braves is going to take his place and participate in Monday's home run derby, so that'll be a lot of fun for Braves fans to still be able to see a Atlanta player in the home run derby in place of Ronald Acuna. And there's been an interesting change for the women's basketball selection Sunday announcement. The 68-team bracket will now be announced on Sunday, March 15th as per normal, but the committee is planning to publicly announce the top 16 seeds the previous day, which will be Saturday. The reason being, and why this is a little bit different from the men, because, of course, the men's tournament is played solely on neutral courts. The women's tournament, as we all well know, that's how the Gamecocks have had the home court advantage in the opening couple of rounds for years. So the NCAA says the additional time will help the top 16 seeded hosts to prepare for the upcoming conference tournament. I don't know that it's necessary. Maybe it is for 13, 14, 15, and 16. Those seeds kind of on the bubble you may or may not get to host. But the top 8 seeds, they already know. If the Gamecocks are sitting at 32-0 or whatever the case may be, they know they're going to be hosting the first 2 rounds of the women's basketball tournament. They don't have to worry about preparing, whether they find out on Sunday, March 15th or Saturday, March 14th. But the teams right on the edge of the bubble, that's probably where it will help them the most. All right, I want to thank all our guests this week, including a couple here today, Lou Bezek from the State newspaper, and also George Bryan III, and Ron Matei for dropping by for Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps. Brought to you by Tsunami Bar Sports. And, of course, if you missed any of the programs this week, you can find them all in podcast form. We get them uploaded a little bit later on tonight, including tonight's show. All right, but before we close things up, we've had some fun with this, and we'll see if Phil will remember to continue this next week. It's the freshman question of the week, and as I told Josh during the break, this is more a thinking man's question for you, Josh, not whether or not you're going to oversleep and miss classes. No, the question is, if you have your choice of 3 other people to join you at dinner at the Russell House, whether they are living or have passed away, they are dead, who would you select to have dinner with you at the Russell House on campus at USC?
Man,
could be anybody.
This is a man, that's tough.
I told you it was going to be a thinking man's question.
I will probably go, man, that's real tough. This is going to be one that I'm not sure you might think of, but Ronald Reagan may be one.
All right.
Yes.
I respect that.
Yeah. Man, that's tough. Man, I don't even know. Maybe a musician.
I'm really surprised that Steve Spurrier's name hasn't come out of your mouth yet.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, that's true. I haven't even I'm just trying to think. That's a tough. You're right. It's a very thinking. I have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess now that you say it, probably. I've met Tim Tebow.
Have you?
I have.
How did you meet Tebow?
He actually came to my middle school when he was here for the Fireflies in Columbia. He did some charity work, and he went to our middle school. And he was there, I didn't meet him. I shook his hand or whatever and said hi. But probably, Yeah, Steve Spurrier. Then I'm thinking a musician.
I like the diversity.
Yeah, you gotta have diversity. I'm thinking we play some of his bumpers sometimes. A guy named Luke Combs. He's a country artist.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. Toby Keith.
Yeah.
Toby Keith. Yeah, Toby Keith, Ronald Reagan, and Steve Spurrier. Those are my three.
That's a pretty good list. See, I think Spurrier should be on everybody's, who are the three people you'd like to have dinner with, because of just the stories he could tell.
Man.
And how funny and witty he is, whether you liked him or hated him. I mean, you can ask Gamecock fans. They absolutely hated Spurrier when he was at Florida. Nobody liked him outside of Gator fans, because when he won, he let you know about it, and you didn't forget it on the scoreboard.
He sure did.
There's a line in Major League 2. Bob Uecker, the announcer, when they bring in Jack Parkman from in free agency, and he makes the comment about how it's amazing how much better or different a guy is when he's in your team's jersey. And he turns to the side and says he's still a jerk. But, I think that's the thing. Gamecock fans love Spurrier now. Well, they did while he was at Carolina. Now probably don't as much as they used to. So it's amazing. I think Spurrier would be on my list, too. I would love to sit down and just listen to him talk. I would probably go with John F. Kennedy, though. Would be somebody, because I've loved his presidency just from the historical aspects of it.
Yeah.
The space race, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and then I'm a conspiracy theory at the worst. I will never, ever believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman. And so I'd love to be able to talk with him and find out, all right, who actually, you probably know by now.
Yeah, honestly.
Somebody passed along in heaven. They told you who shot you.
I would probably, this is not to bring politics into the show or anything, but probably Donald Trump, not to talk politics by any means, but to hear the modern day secrets behind what's going on.
No question. I would love to talk to a president just to find out, what do they know?
Absolutely.
Any president,
yeah,
whether it be President Obama, Clinton, Reagan, current President Donald Trump, Joe Biden. I mean, what do you know that we don't know?
And then
Are
maybe,
there really aliens at Roswell?
Maybe talk to the IRS and see if they could just pause my taxes for the next 25 or so years.
Well, considering you got your bill for the athletic fee, probably be nice to have. Folks, have a tremendous weekend. We'll see you from SEC Media Days on Monday.